The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzolina, and I'm joined tonight by a man who's already bought his Phixated Podcast merchandise. Regs, what'd you get, man?
Green hoodie. And then I got the polo. You know, being a golf guy, I got to get the golf shirt. And then I'm thinking about a few different colors of the t-shirt. I haven't quite decided yet, but they're all just so good.
They are.
I mean, let's just talk about it. Right up front. It's live, baby.
It is live, man. It's live. We're not going to waste any time getting into it tonight.
The merch
People
site
have already
is
texted
live.
me. They've already texted me with what they bought.
So we'll put it out on the social medias. We're recording this at 9:51 p.m. on a Wednesday. But we'll put it on Twitter and everything tonight. It'll be in every podcast description moving forward, as he's already put it up on Facebook. If you need to find it there, we'll put it, we'll retweet the Phixated Pod tweet with the link. So everyone who follows our individual Twitters can have them. It's a big step, man. That's like the final sort of checkbox for this year for the podcast for us.
I mean, what other goals can we actually put in place? Because we still have 2 more months left, or 3 months left.
I know. I'm not sure. We're going to have to see. We've overachieved.
I guess we'll just pose that to the fans. What should we shoot for next? What's
I
the
still
goal?
want to get to 25 subscribers by the end of the year.
Okay. Free merch if you're the 25th.
That's right.
But don't wait to be the 20.
No, just
you
do
gotta,
it. Yeah.
We'll draw a hat out of the 20. We'll draw out of a hat out of 25 for free merch. You didn't ask me what I got.
I'm sorry. What did you get?
Unbelievable. Selfish, man.
I wasn't. I got into the stuff about us. I didn't talk about.
I know. Kind of kidding. Not really, though. I'm just saying. So I got the hat because we know,
of course,
that I'm buying a hat. I too got the polo, black. I can't buy a white polo because we know what's going to happen if I do that. I got the green hoodie as well. Love the green hoodie. My favorite thing on the site, I think, actually. And I did buy Andrea a t-shirt as well. I bought her a red and white Phixated Podcast t-shirt. So I don't know when it's going to come, but it's free shipping. So, hashtag free shipping.
Good things come to those who wait.
That's it. I don't know if I can wait though.
Listen, I hear you. We want to be out there repping it as soon as possible.
I'm going to need 3 hats because I'm going to sweat so much through them from wearing them all the time.
I might need a few. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I should buy 2 polos.
I'm going to need a bunch of hats.
Yeah.
Because we know how much I love my hats.
It's getting into hoodie season, so I'm excited to have the new hoodie to rock.
It's all I'm going to wear. Yeah. It's all I'm going to wear. That's it.
I mean, again, we talked about it on the last pod when we said, the site was getting ready to go and it would be live soon. The fact that it's actually live and we did it, it's all just for the fans out there, the people who listen. We can't thank you enough for even thinking about purchasing something with the logo on it. Like at least I think you do enough just by listening, watching, following the Twitter, whatever you might do. But if you're willing to actually buy something, I mean, man, just thank you is really all I can say.
And like I've told people, we're really not making any money off of that. No, so we're super excited that, you did it. And my favorite thing is like the marquee requests and the just the amount of people saying, where are the koozies?
We thought about this. We looked into it. This is one of those things that we talked about is a bulk item that you have to purchase a lot of up front. Yeah. So pretty much.
Well, I got someone who said they'd buy a ton of them. Mike Helsel, I'm looking at you. So
whatever I think you and I agree about this. Whatever money we do make from this stuff initially, we're just going to put
like $1.
Yeah. We're just going to put it right back into it. So if we
Yeah.
can take whatever we make and put it into a koozie run, that's what we'll do.
Yeah. You know what else would be cool if we ever make money off of anything like this is donating it back to like a Philly sports charity. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just because of, what we center around being Philly sports, but I think it would be cool to do something like that. Maybe we can do a fundraiser. Again, I wish we could find somewhere they'd let us record live and people could just come and watch, and we could take a little bit of the proceeds and donate it to a charity. I think that'd be so much fun. Just
it's
such a blast.
It wouldn't be that hard. We need like a laptop and 2 microphones. Like, we're mobile. It would just be finding somewhere that would let us do it.
You know where they'd let us do it?
Where?
The Microtel Inn in South Bend, Indiana.
That's right, they would. One of their pristine conference rooms, I'm sure, would be great for that.
In Elkhart, Indiana. Here, I'm coming back. 9.5 hours. Here I come.
We got to hear about that. I need to know. I know we're taking a break from Philly sports, but you go all that way for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy for you. I was sad. I was physically sad.
Yeah, being on the campus, I feel like when we were in college, we rushed that trip quite a bit, and it was always cold when we went too.
Oh my God, yeah.
So like I don't think we really got to enjoy South Bend like as a group the way that like I think we would have now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I've been there now the last 2 years. It's been a bit, because of COVID and everything, but doing that and experiencing it all, like taking an entire Friday and walking around campus and I don't know that I texted you this or not. We were like 50 yards from meeting Marcus Freeman. Like he was going into he was going into the Gog and we saw him and I was like, I sent one of my buddy's kids, like I was like, go run after him. Mm-hmm. Like he'll, and it just couldn't like get there fast enough. But they like the kids met Michael Mayer. They met Deion Colsey, who's a receiver that, Notre Dame fans will hear about soon enough. And so that experience was really cool. And then we went to lunch and you're a women's college basketball fan, so you'll appreciate this. Literally at the table next to us, Muffet McGraw.
Really?
Like literally at the table next to us.
There you go.
And I looked at my buddy's daughter and I was like, you need to go and like, cause she loves her. So I was like, you need to go and introduce yourself. You're this like cute little middle school, like go tell her that she's your like role model. Like you like do it. She's not going to turn you away.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know what I mean? So she did. And Muffet couldn't have been nicer to her. My buddy took a picture of the two of them together. And she couldn't have been more humbled by it. It was really cool to see. I mean,
great.
You could tell like all eyes were kind of on her.
Yeah.
She's at a restaurant in the middle of South Bend.
Right.
On a game, and everybody on a game day Friday, right. And everybody knows who she is. And then of course, like you do the drum circle at midnight. We went to the grotto. We did the player walk. All of that. And so the experience, and I walked the tunnel and went on the field the day, but like I did everything I could to kind of bring the whole experience together. Spent way too much money as well, so that's good. I'm sure I won't regret that later. But they, I think what I take away from it is they're clearly in a transitional phase. Like there's just some things with a new head coach, never has been a head coach, that they're going to be working through over the course of this season. They can still salvage it. I don't think Drew Pine is that much off of what we've gotten so far from Tyler Buckner. He was a 4-star recruit, definitely had talent coming out at high school in Connecticut. Kind of reminds me of Ian Book, smart, small, accurate. He's got a little bit stronger of an arm than Ian Book did, though, and so that could be a difference maker. He doesn't run like Buckner, but he runs well enough. Again, he's smart and kind of, I don't know. He's like, I feel like the word spark is always attached to Drew Pine. Like, oh, here comes the spark, Drew Pine again. Like we saw that a lot last year. So, I'm not panicking. I still think Marcus Freeman's the guy. The recruiting is crazy good. It's just, can he figure out how to coach? And I think they're double-digit favorites again this weekend against Cal. And Cal is a terrible offense, like terrible. So hopefully they can figure it out. They're not going to have to do a whole lot. They have decent defense, but they're not very good offensively. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it was rough watching them lose a game to a team that like Brian Kelly beat a million times out of a million.
Yeah.
You know, you 42 straight wins against unranked teams, and then that happens.
It was nice that he lost though, in the way that he did.
Yeah, his first game, but
Yeah.
then he comes back and wins the next week. I mean, again, like I don't really have a ton of ill will toward Brian Kelly. The reason the program's at where it's at is because of him. But Freeman's just got to feel his own way, and they're a young coaching staff. There's just not, if the offense wasn't working when Brian Kelly was there, Brian Kelly walked into Tommy Rees and said, like, here's what you're going to do, figure it out. Well, there's no one to do that anymore. So, it's going to take time. There's going to be growing pains as there is with any young, he's our age. He's 36 years old.
That's crazy.
So, I think it's just a matter of, being patient and finding out if he's the right guy. And I think you give him 2 years to do that. And if he's not, then okay. He's got some recruits in here, but not all of his recruits. So, they have the best recruiting class in the country in 2024 or 2023 as of now, but that could clearly change with the coming months and guys who haven't committed, but they'll be in that top 5.
Yeah.
That it shouldn't change too much. So, yeah, I mean, look, a 9.5 hour trip for a loss and then a 9.5 hour trip back for a near Eagles meltdown. I don't know that you would have found me again.
I think, we would have had to delay this till, a few days from now. You would have been coming back to life.
Where do we start tonight? Do we start with the Birds or do we start with the Phils?
Let's start with the Birds.
Let's start with the Birds. The 1-0 Birds. Let's go Birds. I mean, I know you weren't able to watch. You watched the highlights. Easy. I mean, it felt like it was going to be.
It did, but I was following on my phone, and then the little ticker on the bottom of all the other NFL games. Yeah, and I just kept seeing them score, and I'm like, all right, good. They're continuing to move the ball. They didn't seem to get sort of bogged down. Like 38 points is a lot of points to put up. And then I just kept seeing that other number go up, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, this is not a great offense that we should be giving up 35 points to.
No, and there's a couple of things that we have to look at, but I just want to touch on real quickly some of the stats. Some of the basic stats, and then we'll dive a little deeper. So Jalen Hurts was 18 for 32 for 243 yards. He did not throw for a touchdown. He did rush for one, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did rush for one, but Sanders, Gainwell, and Scott all rushed for a touchdown. So they all got in the end zone and hit pay dirt at some point. Miles Sanders, leading rusher, 96 yards on 13 carries. Nice day for him. And I know I said I wasn't sure that he was going to be the guy. I said that on the last episode, and he came out and he had a huge run on fourth down late in the game to or I'm sorry, it was 3rd and 1. I apologize. 3rd and 1, they turned into a 24-yard gain. That really technically iced it for them. But here's the line, dude. Here it is. AJ Brown.
That dude's good, huh?
10 catches for 155. He only hit double-digit targets like 5 times in his entire Tennessee career.
Really?
Yeah, I got to find that number. But just your initial thoughts while I'm finding that. Your initial thoughts on AJ Brown.
I mean, the dude is just open all the time. Isn't this Twitter handle like always open or something like that?
Yeah.
It's true. The dude is just always open. And he even made a couple like tough catches. Because again, 18 for 32 isn't like fantastic completion percentage, but
yeah, it's like 56%.
Yeah, which isn't great.
Well, a lot of it was throwaways. He threw the ball away a lot because he was getting blitzed and he would just flick it out of bounds.
But the times he was throwing to AJ, like, if he missed him, we'd be pretty upset. That dude just is a beast.
the the deep ball he threw, and there was a ball in a tight window, down in the red zone.
I was encouraged to see the deep ball because that's something that Jalen struggled with. Yeah.
What a dime! And then the yards after the catch.
Well, yeah, that guy
he just drugged the dude for like 15 yards.
I mean, he was 3 yards away from a touchdown like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it was like watching you play like Pee Wee when we were in college or something. It was unbelievable. Yeah, here it is. This is from Scott Pianowski, who is, I don't know exactly what he does, but he's verified on Twitter. I can't figure it out based off his description. But A.J. Brown had 5 double-digit target games during his entire Tennessee career. Imagine having a guy like this and not using him. Some more. 2019, he was wide receiver 9, but 46th in wide receiver targets. 2020, wide receiver 9, but 30th in wide receiver targets. Last year, and he was hurt, and the stats were level. Wide receiver 32, 30th in receiver targets. But, I mean, here it is, and we haven't seen something like this in a long time.
Yeah, it's like we talked about. It's going to happen that teams are going to start keying in on him. He will continue to get open and he'll get his touches, but it's just going to make everything else so much easier for the rest of the offense.
Yeah, and it's great to see that they already have a chemistry. It really is, because that's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. And we know he has a chemistry with Dallas Goedert, and we know he has a chemistry with Devontae Smith. I know Devontae only had 2 targets; he didn't have a catch. But I can tell you right now, Devontae Smith is more worried about winning football games than his numbers. This is a guy who played with like superstars at Alabama.
Yeah.
Like he didn't play. He wasn't the guy all the time. Like I know he has the trophy from his last year there, but like before that, he played with dudes who took a lot of the reps, and he knows what this means. It just makes them better. And we've talked about his maturity a lot last year, so I don't worry at all about like him being a prima donna or angry about not touching the ball. I just don't. All right, let's talk about Jalen for a few minutes. I know you mentioned the percentage, but let's talk about a little bit about his presence, his ability to stand in, his ability to run. They blitzed him all night. Like it was straight out of the scene from Remember the Titans. Like blitz him all night. They were going to make him as uncomfortable as they possibly could. And I don't know if you remember, but Sirianni talked about after the practice with, who was the last practice that they had? It was the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They blitzed him a ton, and people are like, it didn't sound like he did well, but Sirianni was praising him. And we saw why in this game. Like he didn't have one single turnover worthy play.
Yeah.
Not one. Not one play was turnover worthy. He tucked it when he should have. He found his first read when he should have. He was really good at scrambling in this game. I mean, 90 yards rushing in this game. But let's talk about him on 3rd and 4th down. Okay. 3rd and 15 runs for 16. 3rd and 6 runs for 10. 3rd and 4 Hurts to Brown for 16. 4th and 1 runs for a touchdown. 3rd and 2 to Goddard for 27. 3rd and 3 to Brown for 54. 3rd and 6 to Brown for 10. 3rd and 2 to Pascal for 7. 3rd and 4 runs for 5. 4th and 1, biggest play of the game to put it away. Powers, because he's got those really strong legs. Powers for the first down. Like, there's something to celebrate here with him. I get it's the Lions. I get it. But when they're sending 7-8 guys at you on a lot of these plays, 6 to 8 guys coming at you, and you're calming presence, like he never looked rattled, Regs, and I think there's something to say about that.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be the blueprint for what teams want to do against him based on the playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that when you can in that game, they pressured him a ton, and he was not capable of handling it.
Right.
So that's what teams are gonna try and do until he proves otherwise. Now, again, Detroit is not the best defense in the world, so it might be a little different when we play a really good defense, and their blitzes might be more effective. We've got to see how he handles that. But regardless, it's good that he handled it the way he did against this type of team, because if even this type of team is going to try and do this to him, he has to be able to handle it. He has to show that he can handle it in this situation, and then he has to show that he can handle it in an even harder situation when it's a really good defense doing it.
I definitely agree with that. I think, we're definitely going to see games where defenses might get the better of him, but I don't know. He's just so unflappable. Like I think that's the one thing about him that's going to stand the test of time in his career in Philadelphia. Like,
yeah.
I mean, even after this game, his words in his press conference were, "It didn't meet my standard."
Yeah, right.
Like, okay, you put up 38 today. You put up 38.
Yeah.
Like, what is your standard? And he said that to them in the locker room. He said, "We know we're better than that." So what is it that you think he's? And again, I know he's being a leader and he's saying what he thinks is the right thing to say. But I guess if you're, I know what my need is from the stance of like what this offense could do a little bit better. I know they put up 38 and I'll probably be nitpicky. So if you don't want to go offense, I guess you could just go all around. But what is the standard he's talking about that they didn't reach?
I think we can go offense first. I think
That's
you
fine.
might be able to say, from his perspective, don't think he thinks 18 for 32 is good enough, regardless of how many throwaways that is. And then if they are throwaways, that means that maybe an offensive lineman missed their assignment. Maybe a running back missed a blitz pickup. Maybe a receiver didn't, run the right route well enough, to be open in the time that he needed to get rid of it. Maybe he didn't make the right read. It's not just everyone else, it's him as well.
Yeah.
So I think right off the top of my head, I would think that would be one of them from an offensive perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me it was probably the offensive line.
Yeah.
I again, I think Kelsey was really good in the run. I mean, Lane is just absolutely out of control. Good. There's a couple plays where the kid from Michigan, Hutchinson.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he just flattens them.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to the NFL, kid.
I mean, that kid's good. That kid's good too.
You're not going to see, and the defensive line that the Lions have and their offensive line are both very good. Like that is something that many people said going into this game, that this might be one of the best matchups in the trenches on both sides of the ball that the Eagles have throughout the season. But I do think Mailata left a lot to be desired in this game, and you know how high I am on him. But there was a lot of plays, and I haven't gotten through the whole tape yet, but the whole rewatch, I haven't gotten through it all. What I have watched though, there seems to be a lot of miscommunication with he and Dickerson, and they played together enough last year that I'm surprised by it. But someone that I was reading, and I can't find the tweet, makes a really good point that they did not play a lot in the preseason. So they played like that one drive.
Yeah.
That one drive, and that was it.
Yeah, I think we can get into that when we talk about the defense too, sort of when you talk about the issue with the defense and sort of why that might have happened. I get it that you're trying to get these guys ready and healthy, but we might have seen that they didn't play enough in the preseason to sort of get their legs underneath them and be ready for game day. So, I mean, we can talk about that separately, but I think especially when we talk about the defense, we'll kind of maybe see that point come to more, become more clear. But it's the Mailata thing is, I really wish he would have come out and just really showed out. I mean, for how high we are on him, and I don't think this diminishes what we think about him or makes us think any different about who he's going to be this season. But it's one of those things. It's almost like if Bryce Harper came out in the first series of the baseball season and went 0 for 12 or something. It's just like we know Bryce Harper's much, much better than that. But you can still be bummed for a little while that he didn't sort of just show out right away.
Well, I think before we jump into the defense, because we're going to go there, you mentioned them, and we're going to go there, and there's a lot of criticism to be had. There were a few highlights, but for the most part, a lot of criticism to be had. I just want to highlight this stat because we talked a little bit about his completion percentage. So I'm going to talk about adjusted completion percentage for a second, and what adjusted completion percentage is, it accounts for factors outside of the quarterback's control. And some of it, I don't know that I agree with all of what's in this stat, so I'll just kind of highlight all of it, and I'll say what I don't necessarily agree with. So drop passes, clearly not in their control. So passes thrown away, smart decision, throwaways are fair to drop off of there. Spiked balls, clearly, like if you're spiking a ball to clock it, that should be taken away. I don't like this next one. Passes batted at the line of scrimmage. I feel like that should be on the quarterback. And he did have 2 of those in this game that I can think of. And then passes in which the quarterback was hit while he threw it. I'm cool with that. But so his adjusted completion percentage jumps from 56 to 84%. In that scenario. So if you're looking at it that way, it's pretty good, but I think it would probably drop to a little bit below 80 if you take away the 2 batted down balls. Cause I don't know. I don't love that being in there. I mean, a guy getting his hand up, whether it's a corner or a lineman, what's it matter?
Yeah.
But that just wanted to make that point. All right, let's jump to the defense real quickly. I'm just going to talk to 2 quick highlights from the defense, and then we can criticize away. But I think 2 things need to be highlighted. Kaiser White is really good, and they got him for like nothing.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude is always at the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 guys I'm going to talk about were a big part of the play that makes them highlights. The tipped interception to Bradbury.
Yep.
Now, the thing about Bradbury is people are thinking about just that play. But here's what's crazy about James Bradbury's game. He had they targeted his receiver 6 times. There was 1 catch for 13 yards, an interception, and a 0 passer rating allowed.
Yep, that's pretty good.
That's your number 2. Because the other guy, they don't even throw at. Like the other guy, they leave him alone. The other guy made a really big hustle play that stopped DeAndre Swift from getting in the end zone, and I'm pretty sure it's a drive the Eagles held on. So,
who the heck are they throwing to then to get all those points?
Well, they ran the ball down their throats.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they ran the ball down their throats. It was just run. I mean, what did Swift have? Let me look that up. So yeah, go ahead and rip Gannon, because part of the reason that the defense is not getting home right now, and I will stick to this till, like, you have 2 really good corners. Why are they 10 yards off the ball? We talked about this all the time.
He's still doing that,
and it's still happening. Like Jared Goff is just standing there. Well, like it is obnoxious the amount of time that he had. So their leading receiver was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had 8 catches for 64 yards.
Yeah, that's not like anything crazy.
You know what I mean? It's not crazy.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift had 15 carries for 144 yards.
Yeah. It's almost 10
I mean,
yards a carry.
They did spread the ball around quite a bit. Like, so DJ Shark had 4 catches for 52 yards, but he was in the slot a lot. Hawkinson had a nice day, 4 for 38. Swift also had 3 catches for 30. So, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of spread out to the point where, like, neither corner got bit too much.
Yeah.
To me, it was the run. It was the rushing.
Well, yeah.
And there was a big difference between when Jordan Davis was on the field and when he wasn't on the field. Now, I think there's an argument to be made either way. He should be on the field because the run stop was ridiculous. That being said, he's not used to playing a ton of snaps.
Yeah.
So you do have to be a little bit careful because his body's just not there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I want him out there. I'd have to find the number of what it was with him on the field. And I'll look that up. But I'm going to just give you this number. I want you to talk to it real quickly. They were 32nd out of the 32 teams in tackling. They missed 16 tackles this week. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of texted you what was going on since I couldn't see it happening in real time. I'm like, why are they scoring so many points? And you made the good point that they're just missing tackles. And your other point was that, well, they didn't tackle all summer. And that kind of blew my mind. And it makes perfect sense. Like, of course, you're not going to be ready to tackle anybody when the other team's on the adrenaline of game one on their home field. And you're going to try and tackle real NFL players without having practice tackling. I think it's a huge misstep by Sirianni and Gannon to let that be. I get it. You're trying to get guys. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You're not trying to, be on the Adam Schefter's tweet that someone, injured themselves while you're practicing. But I mean, look at what happened. 35 points is too many points to give up against that team. We're going to play much better offenses. And if we're giving up, and if we're giving up 35 points to Detroit, what's that dude? Justin, whatever, Jefferson. He's going to eat us for lunch.
So, yeah, maybe I think in this world, what I'm most worried about Monday night is probably Dalvin Cook. I think Justin Jefferson is going to get his because, that's it. But if they don't clean up the tackling on the rushing side of things, they might not even need Justin Jefferson because Dalvin Cook will just gash them. All right, here's the stat on Jordan Davis. Third highest run stop win rate among NFL defensive tackles in week 1, 69%.
Yeah, so again, but like you said, he's not
game shape ready.
Yeah, he wasn't an every down guy in Georgia. He's not.
So, but I think what I would argue is most teams, especially if they do want to win in the 10 trenches like Campbell wants to, they're gonna come out and run heavy.
Yeah.
And for me, on first down, Jordan Davis should have been in the game. If you want to then go and pull him on second down, second and longs, third and longs, go for it. Now, this week's going to be a little trickier because the Vikings, they might not run the ball. Like, they might just say, we're going to let Kirk Cousins throw the football because it's what they do.
Yeah.
But Fletcher Cox got to be Fletcher Cox. He's got to be able to stop the run. The second level's got to be able to stop the run. I mean, Swift was getting to the third level.
Yeah.
Way too often.
Yeah.
Way too often. So, another player who impressed me yet again, and I said I didn't know if he was the guy either, so I really am struggling early on here, was Marcus Epps. He played really well. I mean, he blew up a screenplay that could have gone for a lot and blew it up like Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepherd style blew it up.
There you go.
Like cut the guy at his waist. So some good stuff there.
Is Gannon going to ruin this season for us?
He might.
Damn it.
He might. I don't know, Regs. I still think
my
the offense
biggest fear.
The offense is going to do enough. And no team is going to have the ability to stop what this offense presents. They're just not. Like there's too much talent, and they didn't even involve all of it in week 1. Like Dallas Goedert was too busy blocking to make plays, and he didn't need to because AJ Brown makes all of them. And as soon as a team decides, we'll just sneak an extra defender over here to AJ, well then Devontae's got one-on-one. So, or Goddard does, or they're going to use the screen game, or they're just going to run the ball right at you. All of this is true and fair, and I really do think that once the tackling gets cleaned up, we're not going to see what we saw this past weekend. I just think a lot of the 16 missed tackles, that alone, Regs, could lose you a football game.
Well, yeah.
Their offense saved them. But I don't see that happening as the season wears on because they just haven't tackled enough in the offseason. Let's briefly talk about this week. We already sort of touched on it. Kirk Cousins was like the third rated passer by PFF this week, 85.1. Now, I don't know what the Packers were doing because Justin Jefferson was just wide open
all the time.
All the time. And look, I know he's good. Rex, I know.
Yeah, no.
But to have that many uncontested catches, and I mean uncontested. I'm watching this game like, are there even 11 Green Bay Packers on the field? Where are they? And why is Justin Jefferson not covered by 7 of them? What's happening?
Right.
So I think he's still going to get his 100%. Like unless Kirk Cousins has just craps himself on primetime like he does every single year, Justin Jefferson's still going to get his. What that'll look like against the Eagles, I don't know, because Darius Slay's just really good. And if they're like, all right, well, we'll try and get him matched up on Bradbury. Well, Bradbury's really good.
But that's true. But also, if you give Kirk Cousins 10 seconds, a guy like Justin Jefferson is going to get open.
Yeah, Kirk, listen, I make fun of Kirk Cousins a lot. I do. I make fun of the guy a lot. But he'll beat you.
Yeah,
he will beat you.
You can't we can't go another season of not pressuring the quarterback. I know our secondary is better, but the way Gannon is playing them, we can't go another season without getting pressure on the quarterback. We can't.
No, and it's not fair to expect them to. It's not fair to expect them to make plays when the quarterback can wait for a guy to come
exactly,
open. or can get rid of it quickly because of how now Jared Goff missed a lot of throws too, and Kirk Cousins isn't going to miss throws.
No, he's not.
So you just can't. You're right. You can't give him time. Now the Vikings did beat the Packers 23-7. I have Justin Jefferson in fantasy. He single-handedly won me the game.
He single-handedly beat me.
9 receptions, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. Next closest to him in receiving, Adam Thielen, 3 for 36. Why is he that open?
We'll never know.
I'm going to tell you this right now. If it happens again this week, the first thing I'm going to start with on Thursday is, why is he that open? Our boy Jalen Reagor did not have a catch.
No, he did not.
But he's out for a revenge game.
He'll have 7 this week.
Is what he said in the media. He's out for revenge. For what,
right,
Jalen?
For you being terrible?
I mean, look, I'll say it right now. If he goes out and has a game, whatever, credit you, Jalen. But what do you get to revenge for? Like, what do you get to avenge?
Right.
Like, you stunk, man.
Yeah,
you were a bust.
You were bad.
I know that. I know you can't help where they took you. I know that. But like, don't act like you don't like the boos that you're going to hear aren't warranted for your play.
Yeah, right.
Like you dropped balls. You never got open. Like,
you turned into a shell when they drafted Devontae. Like, you couldn't handle it.
Yeah, just stop. I can't even. All right, so give me a quick key to the game, and let's not cheap out and say cover Justin Jefferson.
No, quarterback pressure is the key to the game.
That's a good one.
I don't think the Eagles win this game if they get the same type of pressure that they got against Detroit. I think the Vikings are too good of an offensive team, and I think their defense is better than the Lions, and they won't give up 38 points. But if this offense only gets to 21, I think we could give up 35 again. If we get no pressure. So, yeah, quarterback pressure is the key to this game.
Okay. All right. So let me tell you mine real quickly, and then I want to do a quick check on anything on some of my predictions here. So mine is let Jalen continue to roll. I think let him build on his confidence. I don't know that I want to try and force feed Devontae just to kind of, let Jalen do what has made him confident, which is find AJ, run the football. And I think you'll put up enough points to win. They only put up 23.
Yeah.
At home against a not so good Green Bay team.
I think, and we talked about this during our preview pod, but you have to allow like the offense to come together as it does, because you're going to find out pretty quick if they're doubling AJ a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it should be pretty apparent in the first 3 plays.
Yeah.
What's going to be happening for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to force anything. I think your first couple series should be very standard, and you're going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And Jalen should be able to recognize that.
Yeah, I'm excited for Monday night. Like I usually don't like playing on Monday Night Football because I don't know. I like Sunday. And I don't have to get through a whole day of school, but it'll give me something to look forward to, and certainly
I can't wait to be able to watch it.
Yeah, we'll be excited about it. How many do you think before the end of the first quarter we see a shot of the Rocky statue?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
That's an easy under.
Stupid. All right. Real quickly, don't know about a Sirianni metaphor yet. They haven't played the East. My number one rush defense looks really good right now, so I'm good. I'm happy about that. Nakobe Dean didn't play a whole lot. Jordan Davis played really well when he was in there. I don't know if it was well enough to win a defensive rookie of the year, but I'd maybe get some votes. 1 sack. So my 2 players with 10 sacks, not looking good, or 20, I should say. Gainwell had 32 yards. So we're not really clipping along at the pace I was looking for. Yeah, but I said 1,000 total yards.
I know.
Watkins didn't have a catch, so that 750 yards. But remember, we know that he can get 100 in a game out of nowhere, too. So currently they're tied for the number 1 seed in the NFC, so that's good. 2 of the guys I talked about getting a Pro Bowl bid started off really well. We need a third. And Jalen had 250 yards or 240 yards throwing and 90 yards rushing. So he's well on pace for the 500 yards rushing.
Yep. Yeah.
The 250, if he does that every week, 250 times 17, that's 4,200 yards throwing. So that's the one that I'm most on pace for right now.
There you go.
That's the one. Yeah, good for me.
These
the rest
weekly
of
check-ins are going to be fun.
The rest of it's a shit show. All right. Let's talk about what we thought was going to be a shit show, but ended up not being a shit show. The Phillies come back from the West Coast trip and go 7-2. Regs, we nailed it.
Yep. They needed it. It needed to happen.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They're not. It's not like gangbusters. They are kind of just pulling these Marlins games out of their butts in like the 6th through 9th innings.
Yeah, but these starting pitchers for the Marlins are like,
listen,
legit.
I know.
Good.
Yeah, I know. But I'm really happy that they've been doing it. Like, it would be really bad if we just kept getting 2 hits and 1 run and losing 3-1, 2-1, a bunch of crap like that.
Yeah.
So at least they're doing it. Like, take advantage when the bullpen comes in and put them away.
It's the first time ever that we've won 5 straight series against the Miami Marlins.
It's unbelievable.
But so my dad said this today, and I think it's worth repeating. Big Tom for the win said that he can finally believe because they're beating the Marlins. Like, the Marlins have been their kryptonite for the last 5 seasons. And they're finally at a point where they're putting the Marlins to rest. Like, they're not letting the Marlins beat them. I know they had the tough West Coast trip against 2 bad teams, but they came back home and beat 2 teams who have been a nuisance for them.
Right.
And they were 4-2 against the Marlins. And I think, they should have been 5-1, but they blew that game due to some bad defense and some bad bullpen pitching. So 5-1 against Sandy Alcantara is awesome.
That's like unheard of with these teams from the past 4 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That guy has absolutely cleaned our clock for 4 years.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And because of this 9-game stretch We said if you go 7-2 or 8-1, you're going to come out of this in a better spot than you're going into it because Milwaukee's just not winning games right now. And that came to fruition. Even after tonight, 5 games in the loss column, including the tiebreaker. 3 games in the loss column on San Diego, and I didn't include the tiebreaker in that. So it's really 4.
Yeah.
So, it right now things look good. They look good for the Phils. And I think a lot of it, there's a couple of guys to highlight. And I don't know if you want to go JT or daycare first.
I think let's do JT first because I have been a critic of his. Even saying
so I think we both have, yeah.
Even going so far as saying, was the trade worth it?
Right.
If JT is going to hit this way.
You did say
I
that.
did say
on
that.
The show.
Yep.
Yes, you did. You wanted to talk about it.
It's recorded. So I will say that JT has not been perfect, but he's certainly hitting the ball better than he was in the first, right? 2/3 of the season.
Goodness, yes.
So I can admit when I'm wrong. This is the JT we've wanted this whole time. It's taken him a while, but he's figuring out the timing with his swing. He's hitting balls to right field, which is how we know JT is like. JT's timing is never so good that he's pulling everything, but when he's hitting his home runs out to right field and hitting the ball hard and not just toppling, turning everything over in those weak ground balls the third like he was, it's good. I think he's sort of realized that he's kind of had to step up here. He had some comment the other day that like the daycare's been carrying these guys, so it was time for the senior citizens to step up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, I mean, he continues to be an unbelievable catcher. Like his throwout rate is crazy. He's stolen like 17 bases or something like that and hasn't been thrown out once, which is nuts for a catcher to do. Mm-hmm. So he's been doing a bunch of other things, but we've needed him, especially with the injuries to Segura and Harper. We've needed him to step up, and now he is. And this lineup is so close to getting to where we want them to be. And luckily Reese's hand is okay. Like, good Lord, I just had flashbacks of like Harper and getting hit on the hand. So luckily he's okay. We need Nicky C to come back at some point for us, but kudos to JT. He's been figuring it out and just getting some really clutch hits, like some really key hits late in games.
So I'm going to throw something out there to you. JT Real Muto will finish in the top 10 of MVP voting this year.
That's nuts.
But there is no way this guy can't finish in the top 10. Let me just run through some things with you. Right now, he has 18 home runs. You mentioned the 17 for 17 in stolen bases. If he gets to 20 of both, which it's going to be tricky. Like, I think he'll get to 20 home runs, but a lot has to go right, and you have to pick your spots right to get to 20 stolen bases. He would be the second catcher in history to get to 2020. The other one being Pudge. Let's talk a little bit about some other stats. Corey Seidman put these out the other day. He's caught 98 more innings than anyone else, yet he has only 2 passed balls. 33 catchers have more. 33 catchers have more, and he's caught 98 innings more than anybody else.
That's wild.
He's thrown out a major league high 27 base stealers. Caught an MLB high 42% of them. He leads NL catchers with 8 defensive runs saved. Has advanced an extra base on a single or double 54% of the time. Top 10 in Major League Baseball. Next best mark for a full-time catcher is Will Smith, 18% of the time. You mentioned the 17 for 17, and he ranks 7th in Major League Baseball in base running. 7th in Major League Baseball in base running metric.
He's a catcher.
He's a
this is a
freaking
catcher we're talking about, right?
He's a freaking catcher. look, we've been hard on JT. I remember the Toronto debacle.
Yes.
I mean, we sat here, I reamed the dude out
Yeah.
and said, pull it together. If you're going to talk like this, you got to be the guy. And since then, he's been the guy. Like, that's when he turned it around. When they came back from Toronto, he was a totally different baseball player. Totally different baseball player. And we owe, the Phixated Podcast owes JT Realmuto an apology. JT, we are sorry. Thank you. Because you're right, Regs. The injuries and the slumps of other dudes throughout the second half of the season, JT has been a savior for this baseball team. A savior.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize halfway. I think he might have hurt us, and we gave him a little kick in the ass. So I'm gonna halfway apologize.
I mean, that's fine. I'm gonna full way apologize. And I'm gonna
JT, thanks for listening.
Yeah, JT, we love you, and I full way apologize for it.
Listen, right. This is what happens when Pessimistic Regs comes out. I never am rooting against guys. I love the Phillies. I love JT Realmuto. I just have high expectations.
You know what?
And when they're not met, I get upset about it.
I feel like one of our t-shirts should be Pessimistic Regs and Pissed Off Azzy.
We got to get like a caricature done like they do at Hershey Park or something.
I just make some
written on it.
We'll just use our Bitmojis. All right. Real quickly here. Can we talk about the daycare?
Yes, please.
Besides loving watching Bryson Stott and Nick Maton dump little cups of water on people, these dudes have straight up ripped the baseball. Like, they are raking right now. Let me go through some numbers over the last month. Alec Boehm, 294, 736 OPS, 21 runs batted in. Bryson Stott, 317 average, 832 OPS, 9 runs batted in. Nick Maton, 285, 1,034 OPS, 16 runs batted in. And can I mention, some of Nick Maton's at-bats are the most clutch at-bats ever.
They're crazy.
Like the dude just has a flair for the moment. It's unbelievable.
But it's such a huge, I mean, even just tonight, he went down 0-2 against a lefty, like on 2 really bad swings, fouled off the next 3 pitches, and then had a little liner to center for a single. Like, that guy is coming into these games, no matter what the situation. He's playing right field for the first time ever. He's like going all over the place to kind of fill in all the holes from the injuries. And every time that dude comes up to the at bat now, I have confidence that something good is going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the other guy that's instilling that in us is Bailey Falter, 5-0 with a 2.43 ERA.
I mean, if you had told me that,
but this is what I've been talking about in regard to like the development of players. And we're going to start seeing whether or not the organization's taking a turn for the better. And, it's got to happen at the major league level as much as it does in the minor leagues. And we're seeing that with Kevin Long, and we're seeing that with Caleb Cotham. And Falter went down to the minors and came back up, and he's a different pitcher. So look at Alvarado going down and coming back up, and he's a different pitcher. And I think we're seeing it at all the levels right now. Alec Boehm is back to what we initially thought he was going to be. Bryson Stott looks like he is going to be a perennial all-star considered shortstop because of the bat. The bat is real and it's there. And Nick Maton is what you need on every team, which is a very well-rounded utility player who not only plays really solid defense wherever he plays on the field, but gives you valuable at-bats and valuable plate appearances. And honestly, Bailey Falter looks like he could be a rotation, back-end rotation guy consistently. And if you're telling me that going into next year, you've got the 2 guys at the top with Wheeler and Nola, and I don't know what you're going to do in that third spot. I have no idea what they're going to do yet, but you can stick Bailey Falter in that last spot, and Andrew Painter's not far behind. That dude might be the best prospect I've ever seen as a Philly. Like, he might be the best prospect I've ever seen as a Philly, and I am not being hyperbolic. Like, he very much could be the best prospect I've ever seen.
So I think with Falter, like Fritz had a good tweet just a couple hours ago. The rotation down the stretch when Wheeler is back: Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Gibson, Falter. Do not care what you traded for him, has to earn it.
Yeah,
Like,
no, he's been bad. He's been bad.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jack. Again, we love you, a perennial friend of the pod. But
yeah, he's been
exactly
bad.
right. Like, Falter literally went up against Sandy Alcantara.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the Marlins are not the most explosive offense, but they have dudes who can hit. And for a guy who's been up and down so many times and coming in as a spot starter all over the place to fill in for these injuries, like, the kid, like you said, 5-0 in these last games, like, it's unbelievable to get that kind of production from him.
Pitching to a sub 2.5 ERA in Major League Baseball. I don't care what teams you're facing.
Yeah.
That's not an easy task. It's just not.
Yeah.
So couple of things here before we jump into the next week or so. Zach Wheeler on the way back.
Yep.
Good feeling. Really good feeling.
Came out, looked good out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I almost wonder, I think next week for him.
You would think they're going to do a couple little bullpen innings here and there, I would imagine.
I think he'll get a start down in the minors here, and then I think next Friday against Atlanta at home. Because if you do that, that lines him up right in front of Nola.
Okay.
And then you're ready to go rotation wise for the playoffs. And then Zach Eflin, bullpen Zach Eflin. I like it.
Yeah.
I felt good last night. 11 pitches, a lot of movement. And I said again, Big Tom, shout out Big Tom. We were talking tonight and he mentioned Eflin in the bullpen. And I said, look, I really like the way their bullpen's set up right now. I love the Sir Anthony and David Robertson thing they got going based on matchups. Jose Alvarado might be the best arm in their bullpen right now, and that says a lot because Sir Anthony throws 102-mile-an-hour sinkers. But
God,
Jose Alvarado,
it was great to see him coming out just throwing absolute heat.
Oh, just piss missiles.
Yeah,
piss missiles. But Alvarado is basically untouchable right now. That cutter is impossible on top of the 102-mile-an-hour sinker that he throws. I feel really good about Coonrod. I think he's looked really, 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 really strong since coming back, and I would like to see him in more high leverage innings.
Mm-hmm.
And Brogdon went through a little period of dead arm there. He was throwing like 93, but last night in the ninth he was hitting 96, 97, and throwing his cutter a little bit too with his change. So that's all good. But now throw Zach Eflin into that mix. And I didn't even mention Brad Hand because I think it's the fakest 2 ERA.
God,
I've
I
ever
hate
seen.
Brad Hand.
The fakest 2 ERA.
I never want to see that guy.
We got so lucky with that dude this year that he did not implode so many times. But I do like having Zach Eflin in the back of this bullpen. I really do. And I think, and maybe you don't use him in the back. Maybe he piggybacks off of like Bailey Falter.
Right.
But I do think he's going to be a big plus in the playoffs because of the movement that he brings out of the bullpen. Like that's nasty movement. If he's bringing that movement at 96 coming out of the pen, that's not going to be fun for dudes to hit in October when it's cold.
No, listen, I think any way you can start to bring him back in and get him major league innings is great. I can admit I didn't expect to see him the other night, but why not bring him in? He needs to get back into it. He needs to get back in the flow of things. We need to see if he can do it. And any time that you can find a way creatively to bring him in, like, do it. Let's see if he still got it. Let's see if he really is okay. We have to test it. We have to test the knee. We have to test if he can still pitch. Like, all this stuff has to happen.
All right. So on June 1st, when they let go of the other guy, they had a 22% chance of making the playoffs. Going into today's game, thanks to our homegirl, Alex Coffey, 96% chance to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Regs, we're this close. We're this close to the Phillies Phixated Podcast playoff episode.
I know. I know. I have to keep calming myself down.
So they're on a 91 win pace. The franchise has been around for 140 years. Matt Gelb tweeted this today. It's wild to me. They've only won 90 games 15 times. And I think 3 of those times was during the run that we went through in college.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure 09, 10, and 11, they won 90 games all 3 years. I know they did in 11 and 10. I know they did. And I think they did in 09. That'd be crazy to get to 90 wins. That'd be absolutely nuts. They went 2 months without Bryce Harper. Like, it'd be ridiculous. So here's where we're at. They have 80 wins today. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 games left. So they need to go 10 and 9. They've got 3 in Atlanta, 2 in Toronto, or 2 back home with Toronto, 4 at home with Atlanta, 3 with Chicago on the road, the Cubs, 4 with Washington on the road, and then the last 3 with Houston, who will probably have their seed locked up and resting guys. They're going to find 10 wins in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's break it down to these next few games that I think are the biggest of the season.
Yeah.
The next 9. 3 with Atlanta on the road this weekend. I'll give you your pitching matchups real quickly. You are going, tomorrow is, I don't love this, Suarez and Fried. Saturday is Nola and Odorizzi. Sunday is Falter Strider. Don't love that one either.
Yeah.
Are you okay if they take one out of these 3?
I'm looking at a little bit longer. I just want 5 and 4 in the next 9. I would say if it was 10, I would just want 500.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, like I hear you with the 5 and 4. I think I'm being pessimistic, Azzy. I think 4 and 5 is like a best case scenario.
I'm absolutely with you. If they go 5 and 4, I think we came out of that absolutely best case scenario.
Yeah,
I think I'm with you. 4 and 5 is much more likely. We just can't beat Atlanta.
We're 6 and 6 against Atlanta this year.
Okay.
We're 6 and 6
matchups don't line up great for us.
They don't line up great, but here's the thing: we're gonna have to face Fried and Strider in a playoff series.
Yes.
So figure it out.
Yeah, I really wish we could play the Cardinals and not the Braves.
How about it? We beat Alcantara 5 times. I really find it hard to believe. I don't know. I've never been in the box against them, but is Strider that much better than Alcantara? Like, is he that much better?
I mean, no, obviously, but
I don't know. I think it's his stupid tight pants. It's got to be what it is.
They're just in the box thinking, why are they so tight?
Stupid tight pants. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. He is another hate the face guy. He's right there with Nimmo. But I guess 5 and 4 would be. Clearly we'd be thrilled about that. That means we probably have won one of the series against the Braves.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That would be best case scenario. I
mean, you could essentially lose the first series of the Braves, split the second one, and win both against Toronto. But we know we struggle against Toronto. But 5 and 4 would be huge because this week is really challenging for the Brewers. They got the Yankees and the Mets in 6 straight. Might be 7 straight. So, yeah, Riggs, I feel good, man. I think we might be doing a playoff episode. We could very well be doing a playoff episode the last week of September.
Nothing would make me happier.
Possible. It's possible. Could you imagine knowing we're going into the playoffs heading into October?
It's like you said, when we clinch, we're doing a live call-in
Bring it on, baby.
Where every single person we bring on has to have a drink in their hand.
Yeah, we're gonna cheers and we're gonna do something really fun with that night. Yep. I don't know what yet, but we're gonna have a blast that night and we might just be on for 2 hours.
We might be.
You know what? We might be on for 2 hours here if we don't stop soon.
That's true also.
so maybe I should do my Phixated.
Yeah, listen, I think we can end it by saying it's a tough stretch. It's a tough 9-game stretch against teams we haven't Like, I know 6-6 against the Braves. Okay. It's against teams that, the Phillies aren't running through. So to come out anything above, 5-4 would be great. 4-5 probably more likely. Anything more than that would be a miracle. So,
which leads me to the Phixated. You led me perfectly, Regs. It's what we do for each other. I'm fixated on continuing to hear that the Phillies haven't played anybody. I don't understand why we're still talking about this. Regs, what are good teams supposed to do?
beat the teams they're better than.
I think we could end our Phixated right there tonight.
Just look at the Spurs for the past 20 years.
I don't understand why we have and I know I go that route sometimes, and like when the Braves won like their 21 consecutive games, but I was going that route because it was 21 consecutive games without playing a team over 500. Like, the Phillies haven't played 21 consecutive games. Now, they have not played many winning teams in the last month. I will say that. But that's because their beginning of the season was so front loaded. I remember saying it on this very show that they had played the most difficult schedule up to the point that we had talked about at that time. Like, right before they fired Girardi, they'd played the most difficult schedule of any team in Major League Baseball. But I just want to take a look even outside that. There is one team that has owned them all year. One team. Well, the Giants have owned them. Just saying. But one team has really owned them, and that's the New York Mets. Aside from them, the Phillies have been really good against pretty much everybody else. I know I've said it before, but I'm just going to reiterate it because I'm so tired of hearing it. The Dodgers are technically the number one seed in the National League. Phillies own the season series against them. The Cardinals are the 3 seed in the National League. The Phillies own the season series against them. The Padres are right behind the Phillies. They own the season series against them. The Brewers are another team fighting. The Phillies own the season series against them. The Braves are in front of them. They are 6-6. Regs, if the Phillies decide that they're just going to go 7-0 against the Braves in the next week, they will probably not only jump them, but they own the season series against them. So what I'm trying to say is every team gets to play these bad teams. But there's a reason why the bad teams are the bad teams, and it's because the good teams beat the bad teams. For years, the Phillies missed the playoffs because they didn't beat bad teams.
That's
because they were not
literally
themselves,
the reason.
Because they were not themselves a good team. They're finally a good team. It's fair to admit that. It's okay to admit that. Mets fans can admit it. I've sat on this very show and said the Mets are a good baseball team. I know that the Phillies haven't beaten the Mets, but that's because the Mets are really good. Mets fans can say, look, the Phillies are a good team. We just beat them. We beat them. That's it. We're just better. I mean, when the Phillies were a really good team, there were other good teams that they beat. It's why they were the best team in baseball. Right now, the Mets are one of the best teams in baseball. So yes, they're supposed to be even good teams. The Phillies are a good team. It's time for people to get over it. They're a very well-rounded baseball team. They have offense. They have youth. They're playing good defense for the first time in a long time. And guess what? They have a bullpen. And it's a really, really scary one that a team who plays them in a 3-game series is not going to want to deal with if they're behind. Because Zach Wheeler will get you through 6 or 7. Aaron Nola will get you through 6 or 7. And if they have a lead, no one wants to see Alvarado, Robertson, Dominguez. That is not fun. That is not fun. It's time to believe that the Phillies are a good baseball team. And it's not just about the schedule that they play, because they play the same freaking schedule as the other teams in their division. And yet, the Braves are far ahead of them. They're 8 games ahead of them. The Mets are 10 games ahead of them. But that's because, and I will say this, if the Phillies would have won even 5 more games against the Mets this year, even 5 more games against them, even 3 more games against the Mets, we're not having this conversation. We're not. They're right there. They are right there. So I'm fixated on getting over the idea that the Phillies aren't good because they're beating bad teams. They're almost a 90-win team. They didn't just beat bad teams this year. It's not like they played only bad baseball teams for 90 games. They're going to win 90 games this year. They had to beat good teams, and they did. They beat a lot of good teams. The only good team they could not beat is the New York Mets. And I hope we get a chance to do it in the playoffs, because I would love nothing more than to knock that team and that fan base out of the playoffs. Oh my gosh, would I love that moment. I'd love to beat both them and the Braves. Could you imagine beating both them and the Braves in the playoffs? Rex?
That would be unbelievable. Quite literally unbelievable.
Well, we would do a podcast right after both.
Yes, we would. Yes, we would.
Regs, this was fun tonight.
It's always fun, buddy.
It was a lot of fun tonight.
It's great to have a recap of the Eagles and the Phillies at the same time. Like you said, if we can have Eagles football and Phillies postseason baseball at the same time,
I don't know what we're gonna do with ourselves.
We're in the sweet spot.
Oh, it's going to be terrifying when the Phillies are finally in the postseason. I'm not going to be able to handle it.
There's going to be a lot of emotion. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. You're not going to want to miss it. That's for sure. I mean, this is, if you needed a reason about why we set up a YouTube channel to see our faces, like the Phillies in the postseason and the podcasts that are going to come from that, you're going to want to catch them on video.
We should probably just set up a live stream in my living room.
Yeah, dude, we could live stream this right now.
I mean, it is just incredible.
We could literally live stream us watching the Phillies game if we wanted to.
Well, when they're ready to clinch, we're going to do it.
All right. We'll do that.
We're going to do it, and we're going to sit here and watch it together.
Yeah.
And we'll have the people come in.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to go hug my wife when it happens. So I mean, it has been 11 very long years, and I can smell it. We are so close. We are so close. I didn't see the magic number today. I wish I had.
I haven't looked on purpose. I haven't looked on purpose.
I can't figure it out. I'll have to figure it out. But I mean, it's where we can sniff it. We can absolutely sniff it.
I've been not looking it up on purpose.
Well, I'll probably look it up when I go to bed because I want to know what it is, and I'm just so excited that we're this close. It's been 11 long years of baseball, and again, they might lose in the first round, and whatever, but we're at least that one step closer. That happened in 2007, and look what happened.
Yep.
So it's just getting a taste of it and feeling that, and moving on from there. So
that's right.
All right, man. Hey, we're gonna cut it there because I'm sure people are done listening to us. But guys, thanks so much for taking some time out to hang with us. Make sure you click subscribe at the bottom here. We certainly want to get to 25. That's our new goal.
We're at 22. We got one more after the last episode.
All right, there it is. So let's get up to 25. 3 more. At that point, we'll put all your names in a raffle, and we'll pick your thing. I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna post something tonight. Everybody gets a free win. Not tonight, tomorrow. Everybody gets a free win. Going into the rest of the Eagles season, but you post your record, and do the game by game. Winner gets a free piece of merchandise on our dime. So look for that coming up soon. Make sure again you click subscribe. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at B&B Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at B&B Podcast. Also at the Phixated Pod. Follow Chris at Big Regs with a Z. Follow me at the Mic Drop 5. Mike, M-I-K-E, not M-I-C. Just feel like I should point that out, and I never point that out. Make sure you follow the Phixated fan page on Facebook as well. And guys, we got merch, so get in there and find it. Go ahead and subscribe and rate us on any podcast platform.
Yeah, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, wherever you listen to us,
up us,
chuck a rating up there. Give us a thumbs up.
We need some ratings, some 5 stars. Give us some 5 stars. What are you going to say about the merch, Rex?
We're going to blast it on all the social medias. So you can find all the links there. You can find a link in the podcast description. It will be there for the rest of time. For as many episodes as this podcast does, a link to the merch will be in the podcast description. So you can always find it there. Again, thank you anyone who's already, let us know that they're going to buy something. Thank you. For anyone in the future who buys something, thank you. Keep bringing those suggestions. We'd love to hear what you'd like to see from the merch store next.
Koozies. They want koozies.
Yeah, listen.
It's the title of this episode. The people want koozies.
We've thought about it. Trust me, we've thought about it. But thanks to everyone who's listening and buying something. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah, we love you guys, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Take care of yourselves. Be good. Be kind to someone, and we will see you next week for more talk about the Phils and the Birds. Go Phils, go Birds. We'll see you guys next Thursday.
See you, everyone.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.